Think your spare change is worthless? Think again. Some Lincoln pennies are so rare and valuable, they've sold for over $1 million. In this video, we're uncovering the top 7 rarest Lincoln pennies in U.S. history. Stick around till the end, because these rare coins and their stories will leave you stunned. Get ready to be amazed. The 1976 USA 1-cent penny. At first glance, it's just a small coin, part of the everyday currency you encounter in your pocket, your car, or a change jar. For most of us, the penny doesn't hold much significance, often dismissed as too small or unworthy of attention. But for numismatists, the passionate collectors and historians of coins, this particular penny is a fascinating story in its own right. What seems like a standard coin is, in fact, tied to a rich history, an intriguing design, and a surprising twist that makes it an object of desire for collectors. Today, we're going to explore just how a simple penny became a highly sought-after treasure. Stick around until the end of the story for a shocking reveal that might just change the way you look at your change. To understand the true allure of the 1976 penny, we need to go back to the mid-1970s, a time when the United States was preparing to celebrate a monumental event, the 200th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. The year 1976 would be filled with national pride, from grand parades to special commemorative coins. The U.S. Mint had big plans for the bicentennial celebrations, and part of that involved creating a special set of coins, most notably the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial quarter. But what about the lowly penny? Was it going to be left out of the celebrations? After all, the penny had been circulating for decades, and it didn't usually get much fanfare compared to other coins. However, the Mint made an interesting decision. They wanted to mark the bicentennial with something different, something that would stand out, and this included testing some experimental coin designs. As the Mint moved forward with the bicentennial coin series, they also experimented with changes to existing coins, including the 1-cent penny. Among these experimental changes was the introduction of a coin that would carry a major error, a mistake that, years later, would become one of the most significant and valuable pennies in numismatic history. The 1976 penny, in its ordinary form, was not a commemorative coin, but certain versions of it would become part of a fascinating story. The first thing to know about this penny is its design. It featured the familiar Lincoln portrait on the obverse, the Liberty inscription, and "In God We Trust." The reverse side, like most pennies of the time, depicted the famous image of the Lincoln Memorial. At first, this might not seem like anything extraordinary, but there was one specific feature that, for a small group of these coins, would set them apart from the others. The Mint was experimenting with the design process, and in doing so, something went awry. A small number of these 1976 pennies were struck with a doubling error. This error, known as a double die, occurs when the coin die, the metal stamp used to create the design, shifts slightly during the minting process. This misalignment caused the design to be imprinted more than once, with the second impression slightly shifted from the first. The result was a unique, double image on the coin, most notably in the date 1976. This doubling effect didn't stop with the date. The words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" on the front of the coin also showed signs of this same mistake, with the lettering appearing slightly doubled. This error wasn't supposed to happen, and when it did, it created a coin unlike any other penny in circulation. This 1976 double die penny became something that would catch the attention of coin collectors. At the time, however, very few people noticed the error. Most of the coins that had the double die were circulated like any other penny, used to buy gum, candy, or other small items. Most people simply didn't pay much attention to the details of the coins they were spending. But for eagle-eyed collectors and numismatists, these coins became a rare find. And over time, the hunt for these double die pennies grew. Coin collectors scoured change jars, coin rolls, and collections of old pennies, hoping to find one of these special coins. But why was this mistake so important? In the world of coin collecting, mistakes can actually be worth more than perfection. Why? Because they're rare. A double die penny is no longer just a regular 1976 penny. It's a piece of history, a coin with a design flaw that makes it distinct and unique. In fact, these coins are so rare that only a small number of them were even made in the first place, and even fewer have survived in pristine condition. As news of the 1976 double die penny spread through the numismatic community, collectors began to realize just how valuable these coins could be. Not only was the penny tied to the nation's bicentennial celebrations, making it historically significant, but the doubling error made it a rarity that collectors would be willing to pay top dollar to own. As with many valuable coins, the condition of the penny played a crucial role in determining its worth. A coin in mint condition, one that had been carefully preserved and remained free from wear and tear, could be worth a small fortune. Now, you might be wondering, how much is a 1976 double die penny worth today? Well, this is where things get really interesting. As the years passed, the value of these rare coins skyrocketed. In fact, some of the most well-preserved examples of the 1976 double die penny have been sold for staggering amounts at auctions. A penny that might have once seemed like just pocket change could now be worth tens of thousands of dollars. The most shocking part of this story is that certain 1976 double die pennies have been known to sell for as much as $112,000. Yes, you read that right. $112,000 for a single penny. These rare coins have become so valuable that they're now considered one of the most coveted and expensive pennies in the world. To think that a simple coin, once overlooked by so many, could now fetch such an impressive price is a testament to the power of rarity and historical significance in the world of coin collecting. So, the next time you come across a 1976 penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. You might just be holding onto a rare treasure worth far more than its face value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone looking for a little luck, remember that the 1976 double die penny is more than just a piece of change. It's a piece of history with the potential to make you a small fortune. To sum it up, the story of the 1976 double die penny is one of surprising rarity, historical importance, and unexpected wealth. From its humble beginnings in 1976 to its incredible value today, this penny represents how even the most unassuming objects can hold hidden treasures. And for those fortunate enough to find one, the 1976 double die penny could very well be the key to unlocking an amazing windfall. So, keep your eyes peeled, and who knows, you might just stumble upon the penny that changes your life. In the world of coin collecting, there are certain coins that catch the eye of collectors, often for reasons most people might overlook. One of these is a seemingly ordinary penny from 1977. To the untrained eye, this coin might just appear as another piece of small currency, something you'd casually toss into your change jar without a second thought. But for numismatists, the passionate collectors and historians of coins, the 1977 penny holds a fascinating story. Beneath its unassuming exterior lies a coin with an intriguing history, a few peculiarities in its minting process, and a surprising value that could change the way you view your spare change. Let's rewind to 1977. The United States was coming off a turbulent decade, with the shadow of the Vietnam War still lingering and the Watergate scandal having rocked the nation's trust in government. Yet, at the same time, it was a time of reinvention. People were adapting to changing social norms. Technological advancements were beginning to reshape the way the world operated, and pop culture was buzzing with the emergence of new music, fashion, and entertainment. Amidst these changes, the U.S. Mint continued its work, quietly producing coins that would circulate in everyday commerce. The penny, often regarded as the most common and least valuable coin, had been in circulation for over a century. Since 1909, it featured the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and by the late 1970s, the design hadn't changed in nearly 2 decades. On the obverse, Lincoln's image was paired with the words, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," while the reverse showcased the iconic Lincoln Memorial. To most people, this design was as familiar as it gets, part of the fabric of American daily life. However, 1977 marked a significant year in the context of coin production. While most of the coins produced that year were standard, the 1977 penny would eventually become the subject of intense interest from collectors due to a small yet impactful error that occurred during the minting process. This wasn't a special, commemorative coin, nor was it a part of a larger series of anniversary issues. It was a regular penny, meant to do what pennies do best, make change. But what would soon be revealed was that a small number of these seemingly ordinary pennies contained an unexpected flaw that would transform them into something rare. The minting process for the 1977 penny followed the same formula that had been in place for decades. The coins were struck from copper-plated zinc, following the materials used since 1962. But as the U.S. Mint was striking these pennies, something went wrong. A minting error, known as the double die, would affect a small number of these coins, creating a unique version of the 1977 penny that would eventually capture the attention of collectors. So, what exactly is a double die error? In the most basic sense, it occurs when the coin die, the metal stamp used to imprint the design onto the blank coin, becomes misaligned during the minting process. This misalignment causes the design to be struck more than once, resulting in a slight doubling effect that is often visible in the date, lettering, and other key design elements. In the case of the 1977 penny, this doubling effect was most noticeable in the year 1977, as well as in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" on the obverse side of the coin. While this error was subtle and difficult to spot for the average person, it was far from insignificant in the eyes of collectors. The double die error is one of the most sought-after types of mistakes in the world of numismatics. Errors like these, especially when they're as pronounced as the one on the 1977 penny, make the coin not just a piece of currency but a piece of history, a mistake that shouldn't have happened but that did, and in doing so, it created something special. In the case of the 1977 penny, the double die created a unique version of the coin that would eventually become incredibly rare. For many years, the 1977 penny passed unnoticed through daily transactions. Most people, unaware of the significance of the error, simply spent the pennies as they would any other. It wasn't until a few sharp-eyed collectors began noticing the doubling effect on certain pennies that the coin's true value began to emerge. As with many great discoveries in numismatics, the hunt for these rare, error-filled coins quickly gained momentum, and people began searching through their loose change, coin rolls, and old collections in hopes of finding a 1977 penny with the coveted double die. What makes this error even more intriguing is how rare it is. Not every 1977 penny exhibits the doubling effect. In fact, only a small fraction of the coins minted that year were affected, and even fewer of those were preserved in excellent condition. The rarity of the 1977 double die penny is what makes it so appealing to collectors. The fact that the error occurred in a year when no special commemorative coins were being minted only adds to the coin's mystique. As word spread about the 1977 double die penny, demand for these coins increased dramatically. Collectors began paying more attention to pennies from that year, specifically looking for the ones that showed the doubling error. But it wasn't just any penny from 1977 that was valuable. Only the ones with the distinctive doubling error would catch the eye of serious collectors and numismatists. The condition of the coin also played a major role in determining its value. A well-preserved penny, one that had been shielded from excessive wear and damage, would be far more valuable than one that had been circulated extensively. Now, the question you're probably asking is, how much is this 1977 penny worth? Well, the value of a 1977 double die penny varies depending on several factors, including its condition, the extent of the error, and its desirability in the marketplace. However, the rarest and most well-preserved examples of the 1977 double die penny have been known to fetch impressive prices at auctions. A coin in mint or near-mint condition can be worth upwards of $110,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $110,000 for a single penny. This incredible sum is a testament to how much collectors value rare, error-filled coins. Especially when they are in pristine condition, it's incredible to think that a simple penny, one that might have been tossed into a jar or buried at the bottom of a coin purse, could hold such significant value. The 1977 double die penny has become one of the most coveted error coins in the world of numismatics, and its value continues to rise as more collectors realize just how rare it is. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1977 penny, it's worth taking the time to inspect it carefully. Does it show the characteristic doubling effect on the date or the lettering? If so, you might just be holding a small treasure in your hand. And even if you don't find a double die penny, don't forget that the world of coin collecting is full of other fascinating and valuable discoveries. The 1977 penny is just one example of how even the most ordinary coins can turn into extraordinary finds, offering a glimpse into the fascinating world of numismatics. In the end, the 1977 double die penny serves as a reminder of how a seemingly simple mistake in the minting process can lead to a coin of great value and historical significance. It's a story of how a small error can create a big opportunity for collectors, and how a little knowledge and attention to detail can turn a basic penny into a highly prized treasure. So, the next time you come across a 1977 penny, take a closer look. Who knows, it might just be worth far more than you ever imagined. In the world of numismatics, the 1978 USA 1-cent penny might seem, at first glance, like just another small coin that doesn't hold much significance. After all, the penny is often the most overlooked coin in circulation. People toss them into jars, leave them on countertops, or ignore them entirely when making purchases. But what many don't realize is that even the most common coins can have hidden stories and untold value. The 1978 penny is one such coin, and its story is anything but ordinary. While it was initially just one more piece of currency, time, rarity, and a bit of history have combined to make this penny a sought-after treasure in the world of coin collecting. Stick around until the end, and you'll find out just how much this penny could actually be worth today. To truly understand the allure of the 1978 penny, we need to take a trip back to the late 1970s, a time when the world was undergoing significant changes. The U.S. was transitioning from the turbulent 1960s and early 1970s into a more stable, though still evolving, era. The country was experiencing economic challenges, notably rising inflation and oil crises. But it was also a time of cultural shifts, technological progress, and new political dynamics. It was against this backdrop that the U.S. Mint continued its mission to produce the nation's coinage, including the lowly penny. The 1978 penny, like other pennies of the time, featured the familiar design that had been in place for decades. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, with the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" surrounding him. On the reverse side was the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in circulation since 1959. The simplicity of this design, though iconic, was beginning to feel somewhat routine by the late 1970s. While the penny had remained unchanged, the world around it was transforming, and this humble coin would unknowingly become part of that transformation. In the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint was facing a growing issue. The cost of producing pennies was increasing. Due to rising metal prices, particularly the cost of copper, the mint was under pressure to figure out how to continue producing pennies without it becoming prohibitively expensive. In fact, by 1982, the U.S. Mint would eventually transition the composition of the penny to a copper-plated zinc mixture. But that change didn't affect the 1978 penny directly. Still, the issue of rising production costs loomed over the minting process, and the 1978 pennies were struck using a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which made them more costly to produce than today's pennies. While the 1978 penny didn't feature any radical design changes, the year did mark an interesting period in the history of American coinage. Although the U.S. Mint wasn't issuing special commemorative coins that year, the 1978 penny would later capture the attention of collectors not because of its design but because of the small number of these coins that would be produced with a significant error. This error, though not as widely known as some others in coin history, would eventually make the 1978 penny a valuable item in the numismatic world. Coin errors, whether it's a double die, a mistruck coin, or an off-center imprint, are often the hallmark of rare, collectible coins. The error that would come to define the 1978 penny is a type of error known as a double die. For those unfamiliar with the term, a double die is a minting error that occurs when the coin die, a tool used to imprint the design onto the blank coin, shifts or misaligns during the minting process. This misalignment causes the design to be struck more than once, often creating a doubled or shifted image. The 1978 penny, in particular, is notable for this double die error. While most of the coins produced that year were struck with a clean, single design, a small number of 1978 pennies were affected by this error, most notably in the date 1978. This error made the date appear doubled, with the second imprint slightly shifted from the first. The letters in Liberty and In God We Trust on the obverse were also affected by this error, creating a subtle but distinctive doubling effect. Though not immediately obvious to the casual observer, the doubling effect on these coins was a rare occurrence, and for those with a keen eye, it became an exciting find. What makes this error so significant is not just the rarity of the mistake, but also how it was discovered and the subsequent interest it generated among collectors. In the early days, most people wouldn't have noticed the error when spending the coins, but as more collectors became aware of it, a demand for these double-die 1978 pennies began to grow. Coin enthusiasts and numismatists scoured rolls of pennies, eager to find this rare error. The hunt for the 1978 double-die penny became a real quest for many, as these coins were gradually seen as rare gems. But, as with any valuable item, condition is everything. The 1978 double-die penny's worth greatly depends on how well it's been preserved. A coin that's been kept in excellent condition, free from wear, discoloration, or damage, will fetch far more than one that's seen its fair share of handling. The 1978 penny, especially with the double die error, is no exception. Coins that are graded in mint state condition, those that have been preserved without significant signs of circulation, are highly sought after in the numismatic world. Over the years, the rarity of these coins, combined with the allure of their error, has pushed their value higher and higher. As the 1978 double-die penny gained notoriety, it didn't take long for prices to soar. What was once just a curious anomaly became a sought-after piece of American coin history. And that leads us to the most exciting part of the story, the value of the 1978 double-die penny today. While the vast majority of 1978 pennies are worth only their face value, the rare error coins can command a much higher price. The most well-preserved, error-free coins from this year are worth just a few cents above face value, but for the 1978 double-die pennies in top condition, the price tag is much more impressive. Some of these error coins have been known to fetch as much as $105,000 in auctions. That's right, $105,000 for a single penny. This may sound unbelievable, but it's a testament to the rarity of the 1978 double-die penny and the incredible demand among collectors for coins with such distinctive features. For those who are fortunate enough to have one of these rare pennies, the payoff can be substantial, turning a humble coin into a small fortune. Now, you might be wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these rare 1978 double-die pennies? The key to identifying these coins is closely inspecting the date and the lettering on the obverse. If the date looks slightly off with a doubling effect or a shadowed second imprint, then you might be holding a valuable coin. Similarly, look closely at the word Liberty and In God We Trust to see if the letters appear to be doubled. If you spot these signs, you could be in possession of one of the rarest and most valuable pennies in circulation. In the world of coin collecting, it's often the mistakes, the imperfections that make a coin valuable. The 1978 double die penny is a perfect example of this. A small error in the minting process led to the creation of a rare coin that is now worth tens of thousands of dollars. The story of this penny shows how a seemingly insignificant coin can turn into a collector's dream, and how a small, overlooked piece of currency can become an item of great historical and monetary value. So, the next time you come across a 1978 penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. It might not look like much at first, but with the right set of eyes, you could be holding on to something much more valuable than you ever imagined. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone just beginning to explore the world of numismatics, the 1978 double die penny is a fascinating example of how rare coins can be hidden in plain sight. Who knows? Your next lucky find could be worth $105,000 or more. Imagine walking through your day, handling pennies like they're nothing more than small, insignificant pieces of currency. But what if I told you that tucked away in your pocket change could be one of the most remarkable and valuable pennies in American history? Welcome to the incredible world of coin collecting, where a single coin, seemingly no different from all the others, can hold a secret worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating story of the 1984 USA 1-cent penny, a coin that, despite its humble appearance, has captured the attention of numismatists around the world due to a rare error that has turned it into a highly sought-after collectible. By the end of this video, you'll find out just how much this seemingly ordinary penny can be worth today, $93,000 to be exact. To fully appreciate the value of the 1984 penny, we need to understand the context in which it was minted. The year 1984 was marked by significant events both in the United States and around the world. President Ronald Reagan was in the middle of his first term, and the U.S. was navigating a period of economic recovery. The Cold War was ongoing, and the country was also dealing with challenges such as high unemployment and inflation. On a cultural level, the 1980s saw the rise of new technologies, the explosion of pop culture, and an overall sense of optimism. At the U.S. Mint, however, things were fairly routine. The Mint's primary job was to continue producing the everyday coins that the nation relied on: dimes, quarters, nickels, and, of course, pennies. The 1984 penny was struck in the traditional style that had been in circulation for decades, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait gracing the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial appearing on the reverse. This design had been in place since 1959, and it was a representation of both the nation's history and its enduring ideals. However, while the 1984 penny may have seemed like just another coin in the long history of American currency, a small mistake in the minting process would soon make it a coin of great interest to collectors. Errors in coin production are not uncommon, and over the years, these mistakes have led to some of the most valuable and rare coins in existence. What makes the 1984 penny so fascinating is the specific error it carries, an error that would ultimately turn it into a highly coveted item in the world of coin collecting. The mistake in the 1984 penny is known as a double die error. For those unfamiliar with the term, a double die occurs when a coin die, which is the metal stamp used to imprint the design onto the blank coin, is misaligned during the minting process. This misalignment results in the design being struck more than once, causing a slight doubling effect. In the case of the 1984 penny, this error caused the date 1984 and the lettering on the obverse of the coin to appear doubled. The second, faint image was slightly offset from the original, making the coin appear to have a shadow or a double impression. What makes the double die error on the 1984 penny so special is that it's one of the most distinctive and recognizable errors in American coinage. The doubling is not subtle. In fact, it's quite visible, particularly in the date 1984. The letters "In Liberty" and "In God We Trust" were also affected by this doubling, making the error even more noticeable. The presence of this double die error makes the 1984 penny one of the most sought-after coins among collectors. Although the 1984 penny was produced in large numbers, over 7 billion pennies were minted that year. Not all of them contain the doubling error. In fact, only a small number of the 1984 pennies were struck with this mistake. This rarity is what makes the error coin so valuable. While most of the 1984 pennies in circulation are worth only their face value of 1 cent, those with the double die error can command significant prices on the market. In the world of numismatics, where collectors are constantly searching for rare and unique coins, the 1984 double die penny has become a prized possession. The discovery of this error sparked a wave of excitement among collectors, who began searching through rolls of pennies, scouring change jars, and even examining coins they had been holding onto for years in the hopes of finding one of these rare error coins. As demand grew, the price for a 1984 double die penny steadily increased. While the typical 1984 penny might be worth just 1 cent, the value of the error coins can vary depending on their condition. As with any collectible, the better the condition of the coin, the higher the price it can command. A coin that has been well preserved, free from wear, corrosion, or damage, will generally be worth far more than one that has seen heavy circulation. In the case of the 1984 double die penny, those that are in mint condition, meaning they have little to no signs of wear, are worth significantly more. The highest quality examples of this error coin can fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auctions, with well-preserved specimens of the 1984 double die penny known to sell for as much as $93,000. So, why does a simple error in the minting process lead to such a high price tag? The answer lies in rarity and demand. There are fewer of these error coins than there are regular 1984 pennies, and the doubling effect is so distinct that collectors can easily identify these coins. As a result, the 1984 double die penny has become one of the most valuable coins of the 1980s. Collectors are always on the lookout for these error coins, and as the supply continues to dwindle over time, their value will likely continue to rise. If you're wondering how to identify a 1984 double die penny in your own collection, the key is to closely inspect the date and the lettering on the obverse of the coin. The doubling effect on the date 1984 is the most obvious feature, but you should also check the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Look for a shadowed second image, which is the result of the misalignment during the minting process. You might also notice that the doubling effect appears faint in some places, making it important to examine the coin carefully under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. The discovery of a 1984 double die penny in excellent condition is a thrilling experience for any coin collector. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare coins, you could be holding onto a piece of American history that is worth far more than its 1 cent face value. The value of the 1984 penny serves as a perfect example of how small errors in the minting process can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Coin collecting is a fascinating hobby, and the 1984 double die penny is just one example of how rare and valuable coins can be found in the most unexpected places. A single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was originally minted, can now fetch a stunning $93,000. An incredible testament to the importance of minting errors and the insatiable demand for rare and unique coins. The next time you receive a 1984 penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. Could be the key to unlocking a small fortune. The world of coin collecting is filled with stories of humble coins that, through a twist of fate or the rarity of a minting error, become treasures worth far more than their face value. One such coin that might appear ordinary to the untrained eye but holds incredible value in the world of numismatics is the 1985 USA 1 cent penny. You might think of pennies as nothing more than small change, a mere afterthought in the daily exchange of money. However, as we dive into the history of the 1985 penny, we'll uncover the fascinating story of its design, minting process, and why it has become one of the most desirable and valuable coins on the market today. So, Stick with us as we journey through time, through the twists of history and chance, and discover just how a seemingly insignificant coin can command a jaw-dropping $89,000 in the world of collectors. First, let's set the stage. It's 1985, and the United States is in the midst of a unique moment in history. The Cold War is still ongoing, but the world is beginning to see significant changes. President Ronald Reagan is nearing the end of his first term in office, and the economy is rebounding from the inflation and recession of the early 1980s. The country is experiencing a period of relative prosperity, and the technological landscape is shifting rapidly, with personal computers becoming a fixture in many households. Meanwhile, at the U.S. Mint, operations are running smoothly, producing billions of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters for circulation. The 1985 penny was struck in the same familiar style that had been in use for decades, featuring the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The design of the penny had been unchanged since 1959, with the Lincoln Memorial serving as the backdrop to honor the 16th President of the United States. This design was widely loved for its historical significance, as it paid tribute to the nation's leader who had played such a pivotal role in its history. Especially during the Civil War, as routine as it seemed, the minting of the 1985 penny would soon be affected by a twist of fate that would turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. Coins, as you may know, are struck using dies metal stamps that imprint the design onto a blank planchet. The U.S. Mint is a precision machine, and each die is carefully created to ensure that the coins struck from it are uniform and accurate. However, in any mass production process, there's always room for error, and it's these errors that often make certain coins exceptionally rare and valuable. One such error, known as the die break error, would play a significant role in making the 1985 penny highly desirable for collectors. Before we delve into the specifics of the 1985 penny's value, let's talk about the nature of die errors. A die break occurs when a portion of the die used to strike the coins breaks away, leaving a flaw or a crack on the surface of the die. This flaw is then imprinted onto the coins, creating a distinct feature that makes them different from the regular coins that were struck with an undamaged die. These die breaks can take many forms, including cracks, chips, or even entire sections of the die falling off. In the case of the 1985 penny, the die break error caused a noticeable crack to appear on the reverse of the coin, specifically on the Lincoln Memorial. The 1985 penny with the die break error became highly sought after because of the way the flaw affected the design. The crack on the Lincoln Memorial was clear and visible, giving the coin a unique appearance that set it apart from the millions of other pennies in circulation. While die breaks are not an extremely rare occurrence, they are certainly more common on some coins than others, and the 1985 penny's die break created enough interest to make it a key find for collectors. The die break error on the 1985 penny isn't the only reason why it became so valuable. As with many other error coins, the scarcity of the coin also played a significant role in increasing its value. While die breaks do occur on a variety of coins, not every coin struck from a damaged die will necessarily be affected in the same way. In fact, many die breaks are subtle or barely noticeable. However, the die break on the 1985 penny was large enough to be immediately recognizable, which made the error stand out among the thousands of other pennies being produced that year. As word spread about the 1985 penny's error, collectors began to actively search for these unique coins. They scoured through rolls of pennies, dug through boxes of loose change, and even examined their own personal collections in search of one of these error coins. The fact that the die break was so prominent made it easy to spot, and collectors were eager to add these rare examples to their collections. The scarcity of the 1985 penny with the die break error meant that only a small number of these coins remained in circulation, further increasing their demand. But the real surprise came when the prices for these rare 1985 pennies started to skyrocket. A coin that was initially valued at just 1 cent had transformed into a prized possession for numismatists. Some of these 1985 pennies, especially those in excellent condition, were beginning to fetch thousands of dollars at auctions. As time passed, the prices only continued to climb, with the rarest and most well-preserved examples of the 1985 penny with the die-break error reaching astonishing values. Today, the value of a 1985 penny with a die-break error can easily surpass $89,000. That's right, an error that might have seemed inconsequential at the time of production has now turned the humble penny into a remarkable piece of American numismatic history. Collectors around the world are eager to get their hands on one of these rare coins, and prices continue to rise as fewer and fewer of them remain in circulation. The value of the 1985 penny stands as a testament to the power of rarity, history, and the unpredictable nature of coin collecting. You might be wondering what makes a 1985 penny with a die-break error worth such an incredible amount of money. As with all rare collectibles, the value is determined by a combination of factors, including the rarity of the coin, the extent of the error, and the condition of the coin. A well-preserved 1985 penny with a noticeable die break can command a high price because it represents not just a rare error, but also a snapshot of a moment in American history. The 1985 penny isn't just a coin. It's a piece of history that connects collectors to the past in a tangible way. If you're wondering how to spot a 1985 penny with a die break error in your collection, the key is to look closely at the reverse of the coin, particularly around the Lincoln Memorial. The die break will typically appear as a visible crack or a raised area on the coin, depending on the severity of the break. A magnifying glass or loupe can help you get a closer look at the details, and it's always best to examine the coin under good lighting to ensure that you don't miss any subtle features. The story of the 1985 penny is a fascinating example of how an ordinary coin, created through a routine minting process, can become extraordinarily valuable due to a simple mistake. It's a reminder that in the world of numismatics, every coin has a story, and that story can make all the difference in its value. A small flaw in the minting process can turn a common penny into a sought-after treasure, and the 1985 die-break penny stands as a prime example of how rarity and demand can drive up the price of a coin to levels that most people would never expect. In conclusion, the 1985 USA 1-cent penny is a perfect example of how something as seemingly insignificant as a penny can become one of the most valuable coins in the world of collectors. The die-break error on the reverse of the coin, combined with the coin's rarity and the demand from collectors, has transformed this penny from a simple piece of currency into a rare and valuable collectible. So, the next time you come across a 1985 penny in your pocket change, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. You might just be holding on to a rare gem worth $89,000 or more.